Hi, I'm Brian HABERLIN, and I want to tell you a little bit about my new book coming out in October, Hellcop. Hellcop's been rattling around my brain for decades. When I launched Avalon Comics with Whilce Portacio, Hellcop was one of the initial launches, but I was wearing a lot of hats back then. So I gave over the reins to Joe Casey and Gilbert Monsanto, and they did a great job, but it was my baby. If you look at sketchbooks I've done over the years, there's Hellcops throughout. There are pages started, stories started. So let me tell you a little bit about the story. Discovering a whole new world that had only previously existed in our collective imaginations. A tale of adventure, betrayal. Hell's just another place, another planet with native creatures most on Earth would call monsters. And humans that have been there as long as they've been here. Doctors, lawyers, maybe too many lawyers. Please join me in October for the release of Hellcop and the Hellcop 3D Halloween special. Hey, I want to say thanks for watching, and I really hope you can go and ask your retailer to pick up Hellcop for October. There's going to be a 3D version with 3D glasses and the whole 9 yards, and the regular version, of course, too, with some pretty fun covers. Thank you for your attention, your support, as always, and hope you guys have a great day.
Welcome to the experience. This is Minute to Skim It. Bet you wonder, why Minute to Skim It? How in the world did you come up with that silly name? Well, when we first started doing this show back in the day, we really and genuinely timed ourselves and tried to read as much of a book as we could in 1 minute, which is not very long. So when we were doing reviews, we were just kind of like winging it big time. That didn't last very long, though, because we realized that we probably couldn't do a responsible review. It was based on a 1 minute look at a book. And now it kind of is translated into, we're going to tell you about a book within a 1 minute time. So that's what it's rounded out to being. Ish, yeah. And it depends on how much we love the book, right? Absolutely. All right. This is about books that are releasing this week. There's a very few that we might get extra previews for here because we got advanced copies. We would give you an extra heads up. And this is so that you can get together with your local comic shop, give them a call tonight, or run in first thing tomorrow morning and get the copies of the things you want. Because I know that there is a bunch of stuff that releases this week that's probably going to be high competition for copies tomorrow. So if you have an LCS, definitely get in touch with them, or you can use comicshoplocator.com to find one near you if you happen to be out and about, like people that are in New York right now getting ready for your New York Comic Con. I'll see you on Thursday. But if you're out there and you're like, I don't know, where do I go? Probably Midtown Comics or one of the other really amazing places out there. All right, we're going to do our awesome reviews. I'm going to start with Out. I know that last week I did an Out review, but that was a week early. So I thought maybe just in case you didn't get to be here for that one, I will tell you about this one. This is a cool title from AWA Upshot. And it is a really kind of cool period piece vampire tale, which is set during World War II. So basically focuses in on a set of prisoners of war that are getting transported to a facility in the middle of nowhere. And one of the people that is there is kind of distrusted by some of the other soldiers because they got brought in as a translator. So they know how to speak German, which, then they say, oh, that guy's a spy. And it's not true. They're there to do the job of, helping translate. So when they're doing war, they can figure out what they're supposed to be doing. And it just happens to be a first people's person. So this character ends up being super important to the series because when you get to the last pages of this book, you're going to see, and it was in the pitch for the book. So it's not like, you're ruining the things. There's zombies. And this character is going to be integral in the trying to, they're going to use their skills of communication to help people to survive. So they don't all die.
So is it zombies and vampires, or is it?
Or what did I say? Did I say zombies? I'm sorry, it's vampires.
Okay.
It's it's not the normal vampire-looking thing.
Yeah.
It's spooky, scary. Like imagine if Guillermo del Toro designed them. It's kind of like that.
That makes sense. Alrighty, so I guess I will start off this week with are you afraid of Darkseid? Miss Jen, are you afraid of Darkseid?
Darkseid is?
Well, so this one is really, really good. It's a one shot and it's thick. Like you can probably see that it's hefty. We don't even have a board on this because it's a pretty thick guy, and it was really, really good. I don't know if I'm afraid of Darkseid after reading this. His story where he showed up in this, because it's sort of it's a bunch of short stories, and it's basically the Teen Titans sitting around telling stories over a campfire, which is so fun. And it goes
like
through
ghost stories.
Yeah, well, it's all different stories. Obviously, like one of them tells a story, and then they're like, "Oh, that's not scary. Let me tell a story." But it just. They're not like usual ghost stories. They all have like the DC characters in them, and there's an awesome one. Actually, the one that Darkseid is in has Harley Quinn in it, and that one was so good. It's an awesome one, and it's really fun, and it's got me in the mood for Halloween. Like I've been feeling a little spooky, but now I read this, and I'm like, I'm ready. I'm ready for Halloween. Like, this is the Halloween DC book to get. So
were you familiar with Darkseid before you read this book?
No.
Okay. Were you dissuaded from reading the book despite not having anything to know about Darkseid?
No.
Okay, so there you go. If you're wanting a place to jump into, don't be afraid of not knowing who Darkseid is.
Yes. Yeah, it definitely does give like a little bit of backstory, but as I'm coming into comics and I don't have a huge DC background, so it was a lot of fun.
And that looks like Nick Barucci says he was afraid of Darkseid in Legion of Superheroes. Great Darkseid saga. So you can go find those books in your back issue bins, unless it's really rare, and then no. Okay, what's next? What in the world has happened in my piles? I know. Oh, I did read that one. I was like going, Arkham City. I don't remember reading that book. I did. Oh, yeah, I did. Arkham City, The Order of the World is another super spooky book to get you in the mood for the season. It's not set up as a Halloween book, by the way. It just happens to be set in the spookiest of all places. The book basically starts kind of in the middle of the action, and it appears that, and they don't really ever make it straight who is the person who does it, has released some kind of deadly gas inside of Arkham. And all the people that are, I don't know, they're not prisoners there. The people that are held there, many of them die, along with their doctors and caretakers. And there is one doctor who was not at work on that day. So they've got one, psychologist in all of the DC universe, I guess, that survived. And then there are a few of the people that were being cared for there. There's some of the scary ones that you don't think about very often. And so it just kind of like, basically it's them trying to gather them back up from them having escaped. It's kind of a neat look at them, honestly, because some of them that escape don't go to like doing crazy stuff. They just like, I think they've thought they haven't been rehabilitated, but they've decided that they don't want to go back there. So they try to have semi-normal lives, but there are some of them that are full-on nut jobs and should go back there right now, which is the reason why it's a scary, fun book to read.
Is it a number one?
Mm-hmm.
Is it I see. It says one of 6. Mm-hmm. So nice.
Yeah. And the art style is really cool. To me, it's the most like, and I'll be laughing if it's actually the person. Nope. Illustrated by Danny, but it feels a lot like Frank Miller.
Nice.
There's a Sin City gritty, QB looking art.
Oh man. Mm-hmm. Well, since you're talking about the gritty things, I'll go to my gritty, tough book that I read this week called Southside from Advent Comics. And this one is like, it did remind me of Sin City when I was reading it, in a way, because it has very similar to, let's see, what is it? The very first book, I believe, in the series where it's sort of the revenge tale, like there's a death that then triggers the main character to go on sort of a killing spree. And that's sort of what's going on in this. The main character, which I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now, but main character, this is him on the cover. He's already a tough guy in the DMV area. So that's DC, Maryland, Virginia, for anybody who's from there. And he's out there just kind of being a tough guy. And then someone close to him is murdered. And then basically this first book is him going through that, his first steps, introducing you to sort of the players in the area, these different gangs, these different people with like, all these different motives and goals. And he basically says at the end, he is going to wage war. He is going to go get this guy who has basically ordered the hit on his loved one. So it's really good if you're just looking for like some solid action, shoot 'em up, just
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's what this book is for.
He looks tough.
Yeah,
he's like Punisher, but with no skull on his chest.
Yeah, he's insanely tough, and that's his whole thing. Is he's like, I'm tough. So he says that. So
he says he's tough.
Yeah, he says he's tough.
I don't think you have to say that if you look like he does.
Yeah.
All right, this is so awesome. I got to sit down with Fred Van Lente, who wrote this cool new series of Jennifer Blood. The series has been written it was created by Garth Ennis, as far as I know, and then was taken over by another writer, and I can't remember who that one was because I'm having one of those days where I can't remember anything, like an old person. But Fred did this really cool take on it where, so the last series, it appears that Jennifer Blood died in prison, attacked. Bad if you go to prison, where the bad people are that you usually hunt and kill. So, you know, they're going to take care of you if they can. Al Ewing, thank you so much, Nick. I was going to guess that, though, and I was like, no, I think that's because he's getting ready to launch the, you know, new Venom. But so in this one, it takes place in this cool town of, like, I think it's called Bountiful or something, which is kind of funny. But it's where all of the mob guys get sent if they're put into witness protection, which is like weird. Why would you put them all in the same town? Because surely they're not all on the same side of the mob, but like different factions. Anyway, that part's not accurately described in this book, but there are mobsters that have been showing up dead, just in like the most horrific ways possible. And everyone kind of speaks about Jennifer Blood kind of like the bogeyman, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, was she ever a real one person, or was she always, it's Immortal Hulk that of Immortal Hulk. But Ewing's going to Venom, right? I'm not dumb. Pretty sure he's going to Venom. So there is another player in town besides this. Is it Jennifer Blood or not? And then it gets set up, just beautifully set up to be this whole, like, we don't know who Jennifer Blood is or isn't, but this other person that comes into town to take care of whoever that might be is so boss. So it's going to be a girl fight, just saying.
So there's somebody being sent in to find Jennifer Blood if
whoever
she is there.
Whoever the person is that's there, that's killing people.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Thank goodness, Nick. I was like, please, just put me out of pasture now. I can't remember who's on what book. That's right. With Rom V. Sorry about that.
All right. So next one I'm going to show is going to be this one. So this is Intrusion, the new book from Heavy Metal. So this one, I'm going to take it out. I'm not going to open the comic, but I need to take it out of its bag and board, because this one.
Is there something special about it?
This one, so I just picked up this book. I didn't know anything about it. So I'm like, oh, look, all right, that's the cover. I was like, oh, cool. It's got a double cover.
It's a flip cover.
That's neat. Oh, that's sort of a neat thing.
Do you read it forward and backward? Please tell me you do.
You do. And I didn't even realize it, because I'm just here. I've got my big old stack of comic books. So I started reading on this side. I would recommend starting on this side. I'm not sure which one is really intended, because this one like has the barcode. So I'm guessing they intend you to start on this one. But that's my recommendation, is the orangey yellow side. Mm-hmm. So what the story is about is it's about a family, and it gives you a little bit of history in the very beginning of it, that basically there were a lot of French families from Canada that, due to like issues historically, decided to come down and get cheap land in Louisiana, in the bayou, and try to make a living there. So, and this family has chosen to do that. They've chosen to come down and try to make their life in the swamp, but they encounter some things that are not so human. You can see the scaly hands here, and it gets really interesting. It sort of starts off as what you think is gonna, this side you're reading all happily and you think, oh, this is just a regular old monster book, and then halfway through you realize you need to flip it over and start reading from this side. Mm-hmm. And it gets a little more complicated, but it was so good. It just blew my mind. Absolutely.
That's Heavy Metal imprint Magma.
Yes.
I'm trying to remember the last book I read, which was an actual flip book that was successful. I think I owned back in the day a Black Beauty flip book with White Fang. I love them both equally. Yeah. I just would flip them from one to the other and keep reading.
And I'll also say another good monster book. I don't know if they planned it to come out in October, but another good swampy monster for the Halloween season.
They might have. All right. You know that I don't always review just number ones. I sometimes go into other issues, the ones that I love. So this is Blowtorch number 3 out of Second Sight Publishing. by my man Paige. This book, all you really need to know is that the main character is a pretty damaged character that was horribly burned and now is just super ultra violent. So if you love lots of super action battle scenes and not as much, dialogue, you don't like dialogue heavy books, you just want to get to the kick in the butts, Blowtorch is the book for you, because it does have a storyline and a plot, but you'll find yourselves just really enjoying the fight scenes that feel very awesomely choreographed, just like random like image on page.
Yeah,
it's like they were trying to do like the real thing. So that was a great one. You should try that.
All right, let's see, what am I gonna do next? I'm gonna do, let's go ahead and do Chicken Devil next. This one I had no idea. It's one of those, I just picked it up. I didn't know. This book is wild. I was sitting there reading it, and Hannah was across the table from me. I'm sitting there like, they did. What's he doing? Oh my goodness. I was like having an interactive, like vocal experience, like with this book. This book is so wild. I'm going to describe it as if Breaking Bad, Arrested Development, and a chicken restaurant had a baby. It would be this. Because
from Breaking Bad.
Yep, and they make a reference to that in here, and I don't know if maybe that's where they got the idea to write this, but basically it's about a guy who runs a really successful fried chicken restaurant, and then something happens in one of their warehouses which leads them to understanding that drugs have been smuggled through the chicken boxes, which from what I understand is what happens in Breaking Bad, because that's what they say in here. They literally say, oh, this is the plot of Breaking Bad. But it's got really dark humor. The guy is just kind of a regular guy going around, but then he starts getting involved with all these drug dealers and all this crazy stuff happens. And he's trying to get away from them. He does wear the chicken suit on the front. This is not false advertising. He does put on a chicken mascot suit to disguise himself at one point. It's not a very good disguise. Spoiler alert, but yeah.
Just so you guys know, there's a little bit of jankiness in the supply chain. So there is another cover that's going to be coming out of this one. Mm-hmm. If you were fans of Bunny Mask, also from Aftershock, you remember that they had a variant cover that had a cutout Bunny Mask. I know that there's a Chicken Devil Mask variant. Yeah. Oh my God. It's just been, caught in the hole, like all the books are a little bit slower to come out through the printer. So
I'm so excited.
Hunt it down. But don't then put on the chicken mask and go gun people down, please. We don't need that violence. Mm-hmm. All right. Just so you guys can get all warmed up to the idea, the regular release of this book hasn't happened yet, but you should think about putting this on your wish list or your pull list. This is the full book of Unicorn. I think that it was really slated for a younger crowd, but I don't feel like that's what they should have done. I think it's fine because there's nothing bad in it, but I think that they should have put this on the adult racks for adults to read, and so it doesn't get lost over in the kids section, because it's really about a little girl who inherits a stallion horse who has like a little nub on his head right in the middle, and he is a cussedly mean horse. So ugly, and I don't know, they don't like each other at all, which is so weird to me, because aren't all little girls in love with all horses? It doesn't really matter, right? I guess not in this case. And when she hurts herself, and the horse seems to heal her. So there might be something more to the horse than she originally thought. And of course, with a name like Unicorn, the whole question through the whole book is it unicorn or isn't it? But it's a really awesome read, and as the first issue has come out, I could probably show you what the art style is here. Here's them having a bad interaction. He's a cussedly mean horse. Rah. He looks mean. He has a mean face. But anyway, be on the lookout for that. That is a Scout trade paperback that is on its way to racks near you.
All right, now I'm gonna do one that a lot of people have been excited for. It's just Soul Plumber. Already people have been coming in, and I don't even know, are they even out on the racks yet here?
Well, so there are some. So the actual physical release date for all of DC is Tuesdays, but many local comic shops, just so they don't have to do 2 processing days, do it on Wednesday with the rest of the books that come out. But since the release dates for everything are going to get kind of weird, like there are many distributors now, and they all send things on different days. Who knows? Call up your LCS and make sure when it's going to be on the rack.
All right, so this is Soul Plumber, made by and written by the hosts of Last Podcast on the Left, which is why everybody is so excited about it. Let's just be real, you know. And so I started reading it. I mean, you know, I'm a big fan of the podcast. So I thought, okay, I kind of am going to know. Well, I guess I kind of had a feel for it. And when it starts off, I will say that it seems like in the first few pages, it's just going to be basically a satire of religion. So not necessarily the best for people who are strong churchgoers.
What are you talking about? I'm a strong churchgoer. I love it when it gets made fun of. It's like, well, I want people to think about what they believe in.
Yeah. And so you really think in the first few pages, like, okay, they're going to lean hard into this. This is what it's going to be, kind of, you know. And it's not. It's so much more than that. Like as the goes on, there's a lot more, because I kept wondering like what in the world like Soul Plumber meant, you know, as it went through. And it's got a real supernatural, like weird machines doing stuff, you know, like supernatural entities thing that comes in. So it's so cool. It's definitely, like I said, you start reading it, you think it's going to be one thing. I'm so excited for the rest of the series. It's a 1 in 6, so it's not like this huge long series that's going to go on forever. But I'm so excited for the rest of it because they are taking it in a really interesting direction. But in basically all it's about, the main character is a guy who got kicked out of seminary and now works at a gas station. And that's basically his life. You know, I can't say too much more about the plot without giving it away because his life's very simple in the beginning. He just works at a gas station and tries to, you know, save everyone around him. So, but yeah, it's really, really good. It was very good. I'm really excited to read the rest of the series.
I'm telling you right now, I had people this morning kind of wandering around the store. Do you have your DC books out yet? I'm pretty sure I knew which one they were after.
Yeah.
All right. Suicide Jockeys by Source Point Press. This is a number 2. Number 1 was intriguing enough to me that I really wanted to read number 2. So this group of people that drive, I don't know how to explain these things. Imagine floating tanks, I guess, that went through time to go and take care of some giant threat. I don't want to mess up number 1 for you in case you want to go read it. And things kind of work out, kind of don't. It looks like time may have had something broken about it because this book kind of jumps forward in time. And none of those people that were the original suicide jockeys that went through and took care of the creatures, it doesn't look like they really are together anymore, or if they are, it's like really strained relationships. So most of the book is about them trying to like figure out how to, they know that there's something they need to do, but one of the guys is universally disliked now. So one of them has kind of like sold himself to, you know, doing TV shows and having a film crew follow him around. And so it's about convincing them all to get together and redoing what they're doing. But the cool thing about the design of this book, it's really like it takes a long time to read because it's really greatly written. It's not a bunch of fluff. But what's neat is that you'll be reading along and then there'll be a whole page with no words whatsoever that appears to have a bunch of different possibilities of things that are going on or have gone on. So you're like going, wait a minute, are we seeing possible other things that have happened in different timelines? I'm not 100% certain, but it's got me intrigued to find out. So anyway, we got ourselves all set.
You want me to go see what that is?
Figure out what they got to know. They can't get in the door, even with a key.
Yeah.
All right. So, and that's it. It's really great.
All right. Well, that description of where there's whole pages without any words has made me think of this book here, A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance, which is the number 1 coming out this week, and this one is really good. It's a fast read. There's not a lot of words, but the story it tells just through pictures is so good. It's really, really simple, and you're kind of going along with this guy, and basically this guy, the main character here on the front of the book, which I'm not even really sure it ever tells you his name. There's very, very little words at any point in this book. But he's just going through his day. It's raining. He doesn't have an umbrella. He, lets somebody else get on the bus in front of him, and he gets soaked, and, his pack of cigarettes gets soaked. And then when he goes to the grocery store to get some more, they don't have his. Like, it's just like a bunch of little things going wrong in a guy's life.
You know that he's not a winner.
Yeah. And it's at least not on that day. That doesn't really tell you anything about who he is, other than it does show you he does little acts of kindness. He stops to, he runs into someone and then he helps them pick up their groceries and stuff. It's just like, you can see that he is, at least on some level, a kind person, because he does, even though he's having this terrible day, he stops to help people. And things. And then the whole day he's on public transportation. He's getting to some location. It never explains why he's going there or whatever, but he goes into this house, and after this is like the very last few pages of the comic, and he goes into this house and there's been a murder.
Oh no.
A very gruesome, graphic, horrible murder. And all of a sudden everything from his day comes together. The aspects of it come together, like in him seeing that murder. And it's so good. This first book tells you basically nothing. Like, I mean, it's just a total lead up, but it's absolutely perfect. It barely any words, and it tells you a whole story. You know this character by the end of it. You don't know his name or what he does for a living, but you know him. And it is so good. I'm so excited. He's in a horrible position. I got to read number 2 to get him out of it. So, Oh. Anyway, all right. I'm gonna just keep on going, and then she can catch up on the next one when she gets back. Let's see here. So my next one I'm gonna be doing. Let's see. I think she's coming back. You back? Oh man.
Keep going.
All right. So this next one is gonna be Dirtbag Rapture, which I thought, I mean, just reading the title, I thought this was probably going to be something about, like, the rapture where everybody gets taken up and everything, and maybe about the people who got left behind. But actually, this book is about ghosts.
Oh.
And it's so good. And I personally, I love stories like this. The main character, her name is Kat, and she is able to see ghosts because she died in a bathroom from doing too much cocaine.
Oh,
and
golly.
So and then she woke back up. So she has some issues with substance, even though she's already died and come back alive from them, but she's kind of continued. But
she didn't learn a thing, did she?
Yeah, and basically, yeah, who are you gonna call? All of the ghosts call her. That's who they call. And she's able to see ghosts and interact with them. They're able to see her. And the rules of ghosts in this world are they can't leave from where they died. Like, they died on the other side of the country from their family. they can't go home. But for whatever reason, she is able to take ghosts with her. So she basically cuts deals with ghosts.
For what? Drugs?
Not for drugs, but so, but I mean, it's not that much better. It's basically for money. Like, I mean, it's
To
like,
buy drugs.
because, you know, ghosts, they don't care if they, you know, spill the tea on someone, and maybe she goes and, you know, does blackmail on people. Like, she's not necessarily a good character, but yeah, and so that's the payment the ghosts give her for getting them from one place to wherever they want to be. So it's a really good story. It's really interesting, and basically she's just going about her business as usual of ghosts and blackmail and, you know, all that. And she picks up a ghost who turns out to not exactly be a regular ghost and not exactly be what she says. And there's a lot bigger forces at play that she did not know about. So it gets really action-packed towards the end, but it's so fun. I love books about ghosts. So this one was a really fun surprise for me because I didn't even know it was going to be about ghosts.
Weirdly, I think that Dirtbag could hang out with Scumbag, which is a book from Image Comics about a guy who is a drug user who accidentally receives a superpower serum that was designated for somebody else.
Oh my goodness. That's the crossover episode that they're going to have to do.
I think so. Oh no, we got to do Mega Smash. I got to do 2 so we can catch up. This one is Mega Smash with a dude, bro. Ashcan. Which has an origin story in it. So if you're an origin story person, this is one you need. This dude works at a energy drink factory, and it appears that he is the dude that tightens the tops of the bottles. In this Ashcan, he's being told by his boss, who is terrified of him, by the way, to will you please not tighten them so hard that our customers can't get into our drinks. And there's alarm that happens in the factory, and he is supposed to be evacuating with everybody else, and he doesn't. So what happens when you have an exploding factory full of energy drink and a guy who's stuck inside and you're writing a comic book? Maybe it's an origin story. But yeah, he says dude and bro a lot. So if you like that, you will be totally down for it. It's hilarious. Oh, by the way, the big selling point, honestly, is a creative team on this. This is Garrett Gunn, who you know from many things, but the big hot book that's coming up next from their creative group, him and Dr. Chrissy Blanche, is Good Boy. Mm-hmm. But this is Garrett Gunn, and then his compatriot on Warcorns, who does the art, Kit Wallace. So think about adding that to your pull boxes. And from Scout Black Caravan, this is Swamp Dog's House of Crows, which we both read. Mm-hmm. And we will say that there are 3 stories that happen in this book. The first one seems to happen during Civil War and involves zombies. Mm-hmm. The second one seems to happen, who cares? It doesn't matter what era, we'll say, the 80s. And it's a kind of a little tryst storyline, which is basically girls get together. And then there's another story that happens at the very end. And we're assuming that all of this is going to get together as a storyline at some point. Bean had this to say about after her reading.
I feel like I should have been able to connect the dots, but I didn't. Sometimes I'm not the best at picking up on subtlety, because Miss Jen was like, of course they're all related. I was like,
oh no, I said I knew they will be related. Yeah. I don't know how they are right now.
Yeah, it was fun, but I was just like, I don't know what happened. I don't know. I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see what happens next.
Because the middle part of the story has no zombies and does have cute girls, one of them wearing cat ears.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I don't know. I guess a zombie's probably going to get after him.
I'm
some
down
point.
for whatever. Well, maybe they both have to like rely on each other to survive some situation. You're almost done on your side, so I gotta do a bunch now. Darkhold Alpha. Darkhold, of course, is the name of this cool book. I'm pretty sure it's the book that you see Wanda reading in the cutscene at the very end of WandaVision, when she's also on the porch. So I hope you caught up with WandaVision. Oh, heaven help me if I've just spoiled everything for everybody. So it's a very dangerous book. I think its lore is that if you can read the original language of the book, maybe you can control it, but most everybody goes crazy that does or tries. And in this one, Doom and the Scarlet Witch herself both are competing to have access to this book. And of course, Wanda believes it's hers because she has been taken over by the, I guess, demon entity that lives in this book a couple times. And I will tell you, as a heads up warning, there is a new team that appears at the end of this book, starring bizarre, dark versions of characters you may recognize. And this one I was super excited to read. This is Hath No Fury by Action Lab. I thought I was reading a specific kind of book, but then after reading this, I don't think that's where it's going. So it is about these two women. They're both from societies, kind of feels like Viking-ish, or medieval, where the blonde warrior there feels very strongly, you can tell from her text blocks, that women have a need to like be their warrior selves and to do their part in, protecting everything. And then the other warrior woman also has a child, and so her focus is on her child and upbringing of her child. And they both have misunderstandings of each other's motivations about those things. So the blonde warrior woman thinks that the woman that's had a child is like kind of like not doing the right thing. And then the woman who has had a child doesn't understand how in the world the blonde warrior woman could ever not, give up the opportunity or have the opportunity to like create a life that you can, mold to be the next warrior, I guess. So they actually they go on an adventure together on accident. And I won't tell you how that happens, but that's the fun of reading this story. But it really is kind of them, even to the very last page, they dislike each other. So if you get stressed out by sitcoms in which there's conflict the entire time, no matter how sweet it is and the laugh track behind it. Like my husband's watching one right now on Netflix, and I'm like, I can't watch it. Cannot watch it with you. Ugh. Because it's always about the little biting. But yeah, it's like that. So if you like the little biting sitcom with a bunch of battle women in it, you will love it.
Enemies to friends, slow burn.
Yeah. Eventually, I'm sure they'll realize they need each other and understand each other's positions.
Alrighty. So I guess the last one I have over here is Billy the Kit, which you got to read early. I read it today, and like everybody, we'll get to read it tomorrow because I believe tomorrow is the release date. Is it? Okay. So this one is really good. I kind of have a confession. I'm a little bit scared. The mascot. The mascots, like the football mascots. Yes. I'm kind of scared of those.
Oh, well, I'm glad that you did not read Willys Wonderland.
Yeah. And some of the faces and the rabbits at first reminded me of the mascots and the way they draw the face. So I was a little unsettled at first. So if you're scared of mascots, stick with it though. It's really good. It's really incredible. A little scared of mascots though. But basically the main character, he's just a little guy. He's a little rabbit. and he's out there on the farm with his family, but he's kind of a little sickly guy. And so, and it's all very anthropomorphized, where, you know, all the rabbits are talking and they're wearing clothes and they have, you know, human qualities from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And he has to stay inside in the burrow because he is not feeling well. And the rest of the family goes out and they have this big feast planned. There's a big celebration. And something bad happens to them, which I don't know if it's too much of a spoiler to say, but I mean, I can't talk about too much without saying that, but something very bad happens to the entire family. And he emerges to discover that, and begins to learn that there's something much bigger, like very big monstrous presences in the world that he didn't know were there. And he meets someone who's going to kind of teach him how to fight these things. And it's a really good, like, opening story of like someone just going from very small and very weak to, you can see like he's going to be awesome, you know, he's going to be so cool and just kick butt. So I'm really excited. I'm so excited to read the rest of the series, like I said, even though I'm a little scared of mascots, but that's okay. It was worth it.
That's by our friends at Blue Juice, who have done really great series like The Accelerators and Bonnie. And I feel like they haven't put out a brand new property in quite a while. But if you look at the lineup for them, it looks like they were just kind of like making sure they had a bunch of stuff ready to go. So they spent the last couple of years creating, it looks like. So I'm super happy for that.
I mean, the artwork in this is beautiful. It is so realistic. Like, it is so beautifully drawn. Like, I could see it taking a long time. Like, it's really nice.
Yeah, like if you wanted to have like a genre for it, maybe if you had a samurai western.
Oh yeah. Yep.
That's my only kind of like put those things. It's definitely western. Definitely western, but I think samurai too. Bountiful Garden #2 from Mad Cave. When we last left our intrepid crew of young people, remember they were in a spaceship bound for the planet that they were to colonize, and something stopped their ship and made the engines not work anymore. So they had to go down to the planet where they were. And they're all young because they were slated to be asleep for a long time. And they needed to be able to, when they got where they were going, to have all the skills they needed to create their new society. So they're all well capable young people. So they have like people there would be in the traditional roles of an adult crew. They're all completely trained. So it's the story's a little bit, I feel like, the normal thing that happens when you've got yourself in a bottle episode where, you know, everyone's fighting against their types. And also this is very psychological horror because you know that from the way the action is going that there's something that has caused the ship to stop. It wasn't just like a regular engine breakdown, because I can't find anything that's really wrong with it. It's just the way that everything's being set up. You know that there's something down on the planet. So you'll get to find out kind of what it is, but it feels very like, am I actually seeing something? Or is this the madness that they're falling into? Unknown. That I don't care that I don't know.
Yeah. That's really cool, because reading the first one, it really sets it up where it could be the psychological, or it could have gone the full on, you know, giant evil monster is ripping their faces off. Yeah. But I do have one question. Did that one child ever stop crying? Because he cried through the whole first book. That one character.
He's not crying in this one, as far as I can tell. I don't remember any crying kids.
Okay.
For fans, I would say of a kind of a cool mixture between like Moon. You guys remember Moon? It's very, like, if you've never watched it, I'm not going to spoil it for you. You should go rent that baby right now.
Yeah.
Starring one man who should have won all the awards. One man. And then put some kind of like weird, what was that one where the spaceship actually was a gateway to hell? Oh, I'm going to forget the name of it. It's always, Deep Horizon. Because I was like, that one was always, whenever we did like Starship Smackdown, I always be like, if you put that ship in, they win.
Yeah. Because
if you're within like a certain distance from it, it like just opens hell. But there's no escaping that. What do you do? And the last book of our reviews, Willys Wonderland. This is a book from American Mythology Productions. Essentially, think of Five Nights at Freddy's, plus Chuck E. Cheese, plus take all of the stops off and make it adult and horror and very adult and horror and bloody. So it's awesome. It's perfect for this time of year. But if you were scared of mascots or animatronics that might eat you.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy how I sorted out the comics we were going to read this week, and that one ended in your pile. Oh, what a coincidence.
That's right. Willys Wonderland is about Nick Cage eating the scenery. Yep. We sure hope so. So yeah, if you saw the movie, you already know what it's about. So
okay.
All right, everybody. There is a lot more coming out this week, so make sure you look at the full list. I know that things might be a little bit weird. Be aware that there are some titles that came out this week and last week where we got some of the covers, but the rest of the covers are still being printed. So don't freak out if you ordered all covers for a specific book and you only have B in your box. It is because A and C have not arrived, but will. So don't worry. If you want to know more information, a great place to look is Previews World. They've you can search this week's books and next week's books, and it'll have a full description and a picture of at least the main cover. Unless something really crazy happens, sometimes they don't have images, but most of the time they do. So I have been Miss Jen, and this is
Bean. Hi.
This has been Minute to Skim It. Thank you for joining us on this awesome thing we call the experience. And we hope you guys like and share it, and tell your friends all about the cool reviews we do. See you guys next time.
Bye.